Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today we have someone that's been on the show in the past that is the epitome of every restaurant business owner in the world right now, and that's Noell Broughton. Noell Broughton owns multiple restaurants and bars. He has had to shut down. He's had to reopen. He's had to go curbside. He's experienced, and he's had to keep his liquor license open all at the same time. Now, how does he recover? How does he go through all the paperwork for PPP? What's out there to help restaurant owners? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, I'm Karen. I'm a former CPA, entrepreneur, business consultant with big ideas, and I'm the mom.
I'm Katie. I'm a payroll specialist, business owner, and detail-oriented person that makes things happen, and I'm the daughter. Welcome to Cheers to Business.
Noell Broughton, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You were the perfect guest to get for this, and so when Johnny said he had talked to you and then we kind of hooked up again, I was just so excited because all the problems and possible fixes we're going to talk about today apply to you. So tell everybody who you are, what you have, and what you do.
My name is Noell Broughton. I have multiple restaurants and bars in Mobile and Baldwin County. I don't know that I really need to name them all, but
it's okay with me.
Well, I have two in Fairhope. I have the Little Whiskey Christmas Club and the Bone and Barrel, and then I have two Lucky Irish Pub locations, one in Saraland and one in Mobile, and I have the Brickyard on Dolphin Street, and I have a little bar in West Mobile called the West End Watering Hole. And I actually have another restaurant under construction, which has been kind of difficult in this time to get moving with that.
Talk about timing.
I know it.
So where is it?
It's going to be downtown in the old Boo Radley's location.
Really? What's the name of it?
I haven't really decided that yet, but I've got a couple of things, but I'm going to hold off on that.
Okay, that's exciting.
It's going to be a New Orleans po' boy shop with a big bar in it.
I like bars.
I do too.
That's why it's cheers to business.
My favorite things.
That's why it's cheers to business. You know, I was thinking about you the other day because on a couple of the companies that a CFO on, I have teams, right? Even in the companies that I own. And two of the teams are having birthdays this week. And I thought of you, I want to get a gift certificate. And that was a big thing as we went through COVID to go ahead and buy a gift certificate now, whether you give it later or use it for curbside. And so I need two, but, you know, I don't know where they live. So Fairhope or here, do you have a universal gift card? I'd love to be able to do that.
But we don't. And, you know, that's something that we talked about years ago. And actually there was a group that was just outside of my entities that kind of put something together like that. But it never came to fruition. But I would love to put that idea together. It would be great because whatever spreads the business through my businesses is good.
Yeah, exactly. So why not? I love cross promotion anyway. So if I have these ideas, because, you know, my brain's crazy. And so, no, I need two for this week.
Okay.
All right. Well,
all right. I can figure something out.
Okay.
I'm on the case.
You want a piece of paper and a pen?
I'll make it a little more formal than that.
Okay. I appreciate it because I don't think your managers.
Noel said it was cool.
Yeah, I know, right? Nobody else says that.
No.
All right. So you got all these restaurants and starting another one, and then COVID hits. So you represent how many thousands of restaurant owners across this country and across the world? You know, you and I, we're friends and we've talked, and it's like, get off the ledge. You know, we can make it through this, get off the ledge.
It is exactly like that. Now that we're back open, it's not as intense. But, you know, right there in the beginning, we didn't know what was going to go on. And then we got the total shutdown, which they cut us at the knees first. It was, you know, there was a lot of panic in me, and then especially with all my people. And, you know, like you were saying, you know, my industry's really, it took the brunt of it for sure.
Well, I worried about you guys when they came out with we knew the most awful, let's shut down. You know, so then there's something for curbside, but then you got all that, you know, think about the food that's been sitting there. And then when they said 50% capacity, and I went, well, I mean, if people weren't truly prepared, and you're a really good business person, but there's a lot of restaurant owners that are not good business people. And so ultimately, over the long term, they were probably going to fail anyway. I hate to say that, but it's true in any business. I don't care, restaurant. All right. So the ones who are good business people, and they were kind of prepared. You know, they can take a hit. Then they, at 50% occupancy, some of them, that's not enough to pay your cost.
It is not. Well, I'll tell you this. So right when we got the word that we had to shut down and we could do the curbside, I continued. Of course, the bars were closed, but my 3 restaurants, Bone and Barrel, in the both Lucky locations, we continued to do the to-go and the curbside stuff. But it was minimal. And then, with all my staff, they were trying to rotate shifts, and the front of the house folks rely on tips and gratuity. So it was none. So finally, after about 2 weeks, we had the big sit down and we pulled the plug and told everybody to get on unemployment. And that's what we did. And so then we just had to, it was a waiting game.
Well, things were coming out so fast that nobody understood. For like they said, if the employer goes on and files unemployment, it won't affect your rate.
It won't affect your SUTA rate.
So people thought they were doing good then. But then they came out with the PPP and said, but you got to have the head count. So we're going to look at a couple things of that. I post every day on my CFO Consulting Services Facebook page. I post anything new that I can find, and I look every single day because I'm helping people play this game. And I've always said I can play any game if I know the rules. This affects my businesses, my CFO consulting clients. Everything that I live and breathe, it's affecting. So I want to know how the game's played.
Me too.
I know, right? Right. All right. So I got some little bit of information on that, and the CPA founder of Payroll Vault, actually sent out an email about something relatively new, and it's the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act. All right. So a Democrat and a Republican actually came together.
No way.
I know. Write it down. And they have put in this act. You're not hearing about it on the news, any of the news, because I watch them all. So how come people aren't talking about this? So I'm hoping we'll spread the word. Now, here's what the press release says. There are 5 points. So I think you can identify with each one of these. And this act is the Flexibility Act, I think, is for restaurant business owners.
Okay.
All right. So, number 1, it'll allow forgiveness for expenses beyond the 8-week covered period. All right. I think that's huge because it doesn't work for you because you weren't allowed to open back up, but you'd already had your PPP money for 4 weeks.
Right. And we had the PP money, and I didn't do anything for over a week because I was scared to spend any of it, not knowing the criteria for forgiveness.
Right.
So, I've already lost time right there.
Exactly. And plus trying to get people back.
Oh, which, that was the second week.
And to do what?
They didn't want to come back.
You couldn't open up.
No.
All right. So number 2.
With no possibility of making tips.
No.
A lot of them make $2.13 an hour. So,
right.
There's no way they're coming off $8.75 a week for that.
Exactly.
And I can't match that.
And then they tell you to turn them in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brutal.
All right. So number 2, eliminate restrictions limiting non-payroll expenses. What that means is the target is you have to spend 75% of the money. You can do 100, but 75% on payroll. So they want to open that back up to or less than 75%. If you just can't get your people back, or if you're at 50% capacity, doesn't that mean you need 50% of the servers?
Well, that kind of goes to who's a part-time and who's a full-time, doesn't it?
Right.
I don't know.
I know. Okay. All right. So number 3, eliminate restrictions that limit the loan term to 2 years. So they want to extend it.
Okay. From 1 year to 2 years?
No, it is 2 years. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, because it is a 2-year loan, but it's deferred for 6 months, and then you make 18 payments.
Right.
Correct.
All right. So they want to take that out further. They want you to have 2 years to pay it back for what's not forgiven. Don't forget.
Right. So they're just stretching the actual payment part another 6 months.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
That helps.
Number 4, ensure full access to payroll tax deferment for businesses that take the PPP loans. All right. What that means, receiving both should not be considered double dipping. Okay. Break it down.
Okay.
If you take money from the EIDL, all right, you get $1,000 per employee.
Right.
So whatever they give you forgiven over there, you don't get forgiven on the PPP side. So this is saying that's true.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, keep going.
Okay, that is true though.
My back of my head's going to blow off here in a minute. And I'm going back to the ledge.
No. Come back in the window. All right, so if I've got $5,000 off the EIDL and I got $20,000 off the PPP, all $20,000 is eligible to be forgiven. But if I do that, then the $5,000 of the EIDL is going to need to be paid back. You get $20 total. Whatever your loan approval was, that's the total forgiveness. you can get. If I say I'm not paying the $5,000 EIDL back, I'm only going to get $15,000 of the $20,000 forgiven of the PPP.
Okay. I heard something along those lines, and, my question was, because I got PPP money for all my entities, and the paperwork for that was written just like a loan. I mean,
Yes.
with the actual amortization scale, and I mean, I went in and signed, and it's, my first thoughts were that this couldn't happen because you can't just add money to a contract that I just signed.
Yes, you can. Get this.
How is that possible?
Because they wrote it. You want to play my game? I'll write the rules.
So, I mean, oh, man.
Okay, here's
All right,
something
now I'm going
else.
back to the ledge.
Okay, no, come back in. Get back to the window.
Okay.
I have a sandwich for you. All right, so here's something else. The time that you've had this money, interest started to the bank. And when it hits your account,
as soon as I signed
when
the
you
document.
signed that document, that interest started. So you could have it all forgiven and still owe some interest to the bank. And that's going to come. Everybody, mark my words.
Well, so what about the end of this thing, and then everybody, once again, that they haven't been clear on all this, the criteria for all this forgiveness stuff, and then you put these people in these horrible positions financially, and I mean then they they're going to have to get a lawyer to bail themselves out. It's going to create a whole other mess.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get bumper stickers that say ignorance. What is it about ignorance, not knowing the law? Yeah, that's what's going to happen because there's too much and people can't know.
There's no way.
All right, let's get back to the Flexibility Act. Number 5, extend the rehiring deadline to offset the effect of enhanced unemployment insurance. What? All right, I got this one. To receive the forgiveness, a business must rehire employees by a deadline of June 30th. See, it used to be June 20th. They changed that too. All right, so now it's June 30th. However, the enhanced unemployment insurance created through the CARES Act is higher than the median wage in 44 states. Again, getting back to restaurant owners where it's $213. Mm-hmm. All right, many businesses have reported an inability to rehire the employees because they're making more in unemployment. The deadline to rehire employees under the PPP should be extended to align with the expiration of the unemployment insurance. Mind-blowing. That makes too much damn common sense. But is that different for every single employee? I mean, you got to have a target date at some time. It's got to be up at some point.
Everybody got PPP money at a different time.
Yes.
It's almost like, when you're sitting here telling me that the rehire date's going to have to be June 30th. And to me, I just throw that out the window because I'm like, as soon as I got the money, I started to try to bring my people back. So giving me just a date on the calendar,
But if you wait to that date to have the head count, then you haven't spent 75% of the money.
Yeah. Well.
All right, chicken and egg. Left, right, good, bad. Pretty ugly.
Yeah. Well,
I like that pretty ugly go together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I set up a formula. I took the amount of money I got, and of course, very simply, and I think, you and I talked to you about it. You take the total amount, you get 25% of it and take 75% of it, and that's what you're spending on bills, and that's what you're spending on payroll. And then you take the 8 weeks and you figure out what you need to spend in there. And I mean, it was pretty cut and dry.
It is cut and dry.
It was pretty cut and dry, but then you have the whole scenario of in my industry, I can't bring people back at $213 an hour, so I have to figure out the number of people I can bring back and offer them more of a flat wage. And like we said earlier, to come back and clean.
Yes.
And to paint or to do whatever we did. So, we did that up until 2 weeks ago. And then, we got to open up at 50%. We're doing 50% of the numbers for sure. So, I mean, it's definitely showing. And we're, abiding to all the COVID rules and things like that. But that's where I am. That's where we are.
Okay.
And I mean,
All right, that's a perfect lead-in, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so I just want to let people know that anybody that wants the link to contact your representatives, reach out to the show on our website or on the Facebook, or me if you know me personally, or Johnny Gwynn or Noel, and I'll send you the link to this.
Okay.
I'll be happy to, just so because what it does.
Can you send me the Cliff Notes?
This is the Cliff Notes, honey. All right, so because what it is in the link that, and maybe we can put it on the tag when we post the show, it's Franchise Action Network, but you just put your name, your address, information in, and it will automatically send an email. That's all you have to do, and it will send an email based on your address to all your representatives, House and Senate.
Well, I will do it today.
All right, I'm going to send it to you again. Okay. Which tells me you didn't read my email. Okay.
Yes,
anyway.
I did. I did.
Now, recovery. You are seasoned at this. We have talked about the liability you have to for your liquor license. That has to stay in place. You can't lose it or you lose your license.
Yeah. They gave a list of the bills that you could pay. And they were pretty specific about it. And it was just rent, power, and then phone got added, and phone and internet got added.
And now transportation, but they haven't defined what transportation is.
And then I was under the impression that the transportation was just going to be your gas, whatever expenses you had for gas. So
Who's gas?
I don't know.
But some of my employees get auto allowance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that'll be forgiven.
Who knows? No guidance yet.
Yeah, I know. But like you were saying is that I brought up was my liquor liability. So there's also been a big question that people have asked me about just insurance in general. We have to maintain general liability if something were to happen, a fire or anything like that. I have to be covered, which is expensive in itself. And then for restaurants and bars, I'm required by the state of Alabama to maintain liquor liability insurance.
Right. Well, and that goes back to part of what that Flexibility Act is. That's going to open it up to help cover some of that other stuff and stop limiting 75% on payroll when you can't get your people to come work.
That's right.
Okay. Back to recovery. What can you tell these people, business owners that aren't seasoned like you are or have multiple locations, and they're crying? How can we help them help in the recovery? What are three good takeaways?
I've read so much literature about this stuff and been on the phone talking with my accountants, my attorneys, just trying to figure out exactly what is happening here. But while at the same time trying to maintain a business and making sure that my people are taken care of, which, has been the biggest part to me. So, bringing them back some core people and just trying to make sure that they have something to do and that, reaching out to the ones that aren't working. It's been a trying time, not only for the employees, but even for the employers. All we want is our people to be doing well. So 2 weeks ago, we got to open up at 50%, and I know that there was a lot of people in my industry were upset about just being 50%, but 50%, I'll take it.
Something
is better than nothing. And I usually don't let that philosophy set easy with me, but literally after being closed for a month and a half, I'll take 50%. And, we slowly started bringing people back in. I've got extra people. We have a one person just walking around cleaning at all the times, and that shift gets rotated between the restaurants and bars. But we have one person who just walks around wiping things down, and we're doing what we can. We're doing everything we can. I think that as part of the recovery, you just go with it. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Except do what we're told to do. And as far as this, any money that's being gotten, we listen to this podcast and hope you can take something from it, because it changes daily, and play by the rules.
Yeah.
Play by the rules.
I could play any game if I know how to play them.
That's exactly right.
If I know the rules.
You make sure whoever does your payroll, and like I use Payroll Vault, and they have been nothing but helpful to me, especially in making sure that in the end, when it comes to me meeting with the bank and handling all what's going to be forgiven and all the stuff, that I give kudos to them.
Thank you.
So,
I tell you what, the team's working hard.
And I am leaning hard on them. Trust me on this.
Well, I've seen the report that's going to be issued. They built it in the software. And corporate, we're meeting every week talking about updates and how to help the clients, because we're just one franchise out of 54, and it's growing. And, we have 250 companies on it.
Wow.
Well, and how many of them are yours? Well, that's why you have a good team. These girls rock it. But the report is actually one report, and you have other reports that back up the report,
Right.
Because what's going to happen is the application for forgiveness, which I'm studying now, so I know how to complete it, is so defined that you have to fill out. It's like the old tax returns by hand on a number 2 pencil. You have to start on the worksheets before you can fill out page 1 and build up. And
Going back to the ledge.
No, come back in. I got it. I got the application. All right. So the report actually tells you and takes into account, for people that make over $100,000, the forgiveness of the loan. It calculates it.
Wow.
And so you take that against your loan amount, and it's done. It's golden. And so anybody out there, that's struggling with the payroll records because you just done it the same old way in the past, give us a call. We'll be glad to put in your year to date and work with you.
They are a tremendous help. I can vouch for it.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
So can I ask one more question? Can we go back and touch on especially on the application for forgiveness?
Sure.
Because you and I talked about it, and I think it's definitely worth mentioning, and I would love to hear it again. And it really applies for my industry, defining the part-time employees and full-time employees.
Okay. All right. The full-time employees. Now, on page 21 of the Small Business Administration, 13 CFR Part 120, docket number blah, 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 yeah. The question is, if a borrower restores reductions made to employee salaries and wages or FTE employees. All right, FTE, y'all, is nothing but full-time equivalent. And that just means that your full-time people are easy. They're full-time.
Right.
All right, so it's on a point system. So if you have 3 employees, one's a full-time and 2 are part-time, you get a half a point for each part-timer. So you have 2 full-time equivalent employees.
Okay. See?
Yep.
That's going.
It's okay. It's easy.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a spreadsheet. Okay. So if a borrower restores reductions to FTE by not later than June 30th, can the borrower avoid a reduction in its loan forgiveness amount? The answer is yes. And this is written by them. Okay. Section blah, 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 again, provides that if certain employee salaries and wages were reduced between February 15th and April 26th, they're calling that the safe harbor period. Okay? That's when the poop hit the fan. So, again, your safe harbor dates are February 15th to April 26th. All right. So, if you reduced wages and employee salaries between that period, but the borrower, that's you, eliminates those reductions by June 30th, that means you get them back up. Okay, or earlier, the borrower is exempt from any reduction in the loan forgiveness amount that would otherwise be due.
Okay,
so hopefully we'll be up by 100% and everything's good. But of course, you got 1,500 other pages to read, which I'm not going to do here. All right. If a borrower eliminates any reductions in the FTE employees occurring during the safe harbor period by June 30th, the borrower is exempt from any reduction in loan forgiveness that would otherwise be required due to reduction in FTE employees. All right, I don't know what the hell that means. I got to reread it. But I do know this. I attended a webinar put on by the Alabama Small Business Development Center. All right, Michael Brooks usually heads those up. They're great. I sign up for one anytime I can get it. And I made some notes.
Hey.
A lot of it was, they don't know. But, hey, the application had just come out. So I expect many more.
How long ago was this?
Last week.
Last week, okay.
That's a long time in COVID time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like dog years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well aware.
You're right. All right. So some of the notes that I made on this forgiveness, it's not about pay dates anymore. There's a second choice. All right, so you get to pick which method you report on, whether when the payroll was incurred, because, we were telling everybody, move your pay date to get within the 8 weeks.
Right.
All right, now it's not just about pay dates in 8 weeks. All right, so now they're saying, for example, the PPP, you got your money on April 20th, your first payroll was April 26th. All right, now there's an alternative method. You can start from that first natural payroll on April 26th and take your 8 weeks from there. That's huge.
I've already lost a week, so now they're telling me I can gain a week back.
Possibly.
Okay.
I'm trying not to do anything in concrete here.
Yeah.
All right, that is huge. Let me tell you the biggest thing I've learned about all this, and this goes to every business owner out there, is if you had it in place before and it was normal, reasonable, and it was your life. For example, you had a rent, you had a lease, or even month to month, and you don't, just say you don't have a written lease. If you can show a track record of canceled checks or records of paying rent every month, then that rent qualifies.
Absolutely.
But if you didn't pay any rent, let's say you own the building, and now you want to pay yourself $5,000 a month rent,
no,
dude,
you're asking for trouble.
You can't play kickball like that. You can't play this game like that. All right. So here's something else. ACH origination counts as paycheck distributed on the pay date or when earned. All right, I hear what they're saying. You have to pick a method one way or the other, either by the deposit date or by the first normal payroll date. Okay? But throughout the application, whatever method you pick, you got to stick with. So here's my biggest recommendation is I'm going to have a spreadsheet. For everyone that I'm helping with. And I'm going to do it one method over on the left and one method on the right. Take the full application all the way through. Whichever one does them the best, that's the one we're going with.
Yeah. I was paying my people bi-weekly, and then I switched to paying people weekly. Well, one of the main reasons my people weren't making any money. And so,
right,
they can't hold out for 2 weeks waiting on whatever it is. So, we switched it to a weekly payroll.
Do they like it better?
Matter of fact, I might stick with it.
Okay,
Everybody
cool.
does.
Cool.
Well, and there was a lot of other reasons for that too. But when you were talking about the June 30th date for people, if we go by what the criteria is now, all my PPPs, the 8 weeks will expire before I get to that.
That's still the look period. But I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So I think it's all coming together. And again, that goes back to the Flexibility Act to extend it. So,
everybody check out the Flexibility Act. It's needed.
Exactly. And so everybody out there who thinks all us nerds who like spreadsheets and I don't like reading the law, I just want to make sure I can play the game. Mm-hmm. And, if you don't fill out your census, if you don't have the representatives you want, you can't get help like this. And I'm sorry, just the world we live in. So fill your crap out, guys. I don't know what else to say. Well, all right, we're running out of time.
Okay.
No, we could talk. I could talk to you for days.
I know it. I could talk to you for days, too. It's fun. Thank
you
for having
fun.
me back on the show.
Thank you. And do you have a cheers to anything right now?
Well, cheers to being open.
Hey, I hear you. Yeah.
I'll take that for sure.
Yeah. Cheers to having people to reach out to. Sean sent me information. I'm passing on information. You're going to go talk to your other business restaurant owners, Gina Joe at Veets. Let's throw them out. Let's throw the walkers out at, the bicycle shop. All the business owners, Panini Pete. Mm-hmm. All right. So
I love all those people.
Absolutely. So let's get them all together. There's enough to go around.
Right.
Knowledge share. There's a show Katie and I did on Share the Knowledge. And that's what I have a big cheers to today.
I second that. Cheers.
Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.